Good morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and we've got a detailed weather forecast update coming your way again for Thursday the 13th of November 2025. We've got severe thunderstorms and heavy rainfall through southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales, and a developing tropical low/tropical cyclone threat across northwestern Australia. All the details on these weather events, plus more coming up in today's weather forecast update. If you are brand new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. But let's get stuck straight into things this morning with southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales, where severe thunderstorms are expected to begin building from this afternoon. I will have a detailed update on this later today as well, so if you haven't already, please do subscribe. We've got plenty of moisture today surging in from the Coral Sea. Now this is going to begin to build this influx of moisture that we're expected to see result in severe thunderstorms through central parts of Queensland throughout the course of this afternoon and this evening. Longreach and Charleville all on alert for severe thunderstorm activity later today. We're expecting this thunderstorm activity to remain deep into central parts of Queensland. We're not expecting it to push in towards southeastern Queensland or anything like that later this afternoon or this evening. And the furthest east that thunderstorms could theoretically get to is about Roma at this point in time. Most of these storms through here are just going to be pulsy in nature, so they blow up on themselves and they collapse in pretty quickly. There's not much wind shear in the environment out in this part of Queensland today. They're going to be that outback variety, so some heavy rainfall is most certainly a possibility. We could also be talking about some small hailstones developing in a few of these thunderstorms as well, and maybe a damaging wind gust threat as well. The strongest storms will be a little bit further north, just outside of Longreach and towards the north of Charleville, but still some good thunderstorms expected throughout this entire kind of blob of thunderstorm activity, and some relatively strong thunderstorms could also be found as far north as the Atherton Tablelands, inland from Cairns and Townsville as well. Pushing things forward, you can see thunderstorms are expected to continue to track towards the east, and that increases the chances for central, eastern and southeastern parts of Queensland as we get out towards Friday. We're expected to start Friday off through southeastern Queensland with a bit of rainfall, which could throttle some of those severe thunderstorm chances that we're getting to see a little bit later on into the day. But all in all, for Friday, it's looking like it's going to be a cracker day for severe thunderstorms, particularly a little bit further inland through central Queensland, along the border between New South Wales and Queensland as well, around Goondiwindi, Thunderstorm and St George, all looking like hotspots for potentially severe or even dangerous thunderstorms on Friday tomorrow afternoon. Northeast New South Wales will start the day off with some rainfall as well. Accumulations between the 5 to 15 millimetre mark are expected. Some spot accumulations over the border into New South Wales could get as heavy as 25 millimetres, so it will be a bit of a wet start to Friday before thunderstorms are expected to begin developing on the backside of this rainfall. So as this rainfall pushes out towards the Pacific Ocean, we're going to see thunderstorms begin developing on the western side of that line of rainfall, and this will then push into the Brisbane area after about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon or evening. Some very strong, potentially severe and even some dangerous thunderstorm activity is expected outside of Warwick, Clifton, Pratton, and then down towards the Queensland New South Wales border outside of Moree, and then inland to Lightning Ridge. And some strong and potentially severe thunderstorm activity is expected to kick off at around 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon around Charleville and Roma, and expected to really build between about 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, with some stronger and powerful severe thunderstorms are expected with damaging winds and large hailstones out here as well. Some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity will also come up into the Capricornia coastline as well, as this moisture continues to pile in from the Pacific Ocean and the southern parts of the Coral Sea, with this moisture making it as far north as Townsville, which means some scattered shower activity, nothing heavy, but up around the 5 millimetre mark can be expected right through the North Queensland coastline up to about Townsville, and a few thunderstorms are also expected inland from Charters Towers out to about Hughenden and then down towards Longreach, so it is going to be a bit of a widespread storm day. We'll also see a few thunderstorms moving down into the Hunter region and parts of the mid-north coast around the Barrington Tops. Some of these could potentially be severe as well, and moving into the Newcastle region later in the day, but I don't expect anything too crazy to occur from those thunderstorms either. Lots and lots of thunderstorm activity is expected right through Friday night into Saturday morning though through southeast Queensland. This includes Brisbane and the Gold Coast, storms starting from about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon through both Brisbane and the Gold Coast. I am just a little bit concerned now because temperatures are not expected to rise that high, getting up to about 25 or 26 degrees through southeast Queensland on Friday, which means they could really thwart off these thunderstorm chances. It could really do a good job at killing these thunderstorms before they even develop through southeast Queensland. So what I mean by that is I see no problem with thunderstorms developing outside of the scenic rim here into the Granite Belt and the Darling Downs, and then into the northeast of New South Wales. So we're talking Fallon, Goondiwindi, Moree, Inverell, Wollongara, Warwick, Toowoomba, and then up towards Chinchilla. And of course these thunderstorms out here are not going to have any problems either. But along the coastal strip here, so through parts of the scenic rim, the Lockyer Valley, the Wivenhoe Outlook, and then of course in towards our Gold Coast hinterland and and parts of southeast Queensland, the Brisbane city area. Because there's going to be so much rainfall and cloud cover in the morning, it doesn't look like thunderstorms are going to have the best start to life in the Brisbane area. So what I expect to happen is the upscaled remnants of these thunderstorms that move through these areas here will be the mode that pushes in towards southeast Queensland later on into the evening, with these thunderstorms here likely to arrive around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the afternoon also, and they could be quite strong again, with lots of heavy rainfall, some damaging wind gusts, and potentially some small to medium sized hailstones. But again, I don't foresee the chance of seeing anything crazy at this point in time through southeast Queensland on Friday or tomorrow afternoon. The strong stuff and the really severe stuff is going to be a lot further inland. Conditions are just a lot more favourable for these thunderstorms a lot further inland. A little bit of drier in the mid-levels as well, so again, looking really healthy for thunderstorms out there. Saturday is going to be the big day, particularly for inland areas. We're talking about some big thunderstorm potential out here in this part of central Queensland. We'll also be talking about some pretty large thunderstorms through the northeast of New South Wales as well, and potentially some strong to dangerous thunderstorms also expected inland from the scenic rim and then up towards the Burnett forecast district as well. Saturday really is going to pack a punch, and it is going to be quite a showy day in terms of thunderstorms. So we're going to have that high cloud coverage in the morning. We're expecting that to clear off by around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, which will then begin our process of ground heating, and it's going to be a lot hotter on Saturday. Temperatures going up to about 32 degrees in the Brisbane area. Could even get a little bit warmer further inland, getting closer to 33 degrees as you get up towards Eidsvold, Billawheeler and Rolleston. Temperatures expected to get into the mid-30s up there. And then of course, with our moisture coming in off the Coral Sea, meeting up with our dry line, which is going to be a little bit further inland than usual, but pushing across towards the east quite quickly. This is going to spark thunderstorm activity from about 1 or 1:30 in the afternoon through parts of central Queensland, and from about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in towards the northeast of New South Wales, that being local time. Thunderstorms expected to kick off a little bit earlier there. These thunderstorms are then going to continue to travel as we get through Saturday afternoon and into Saturday evening. Strong thunderstorm activity is expected through parts north of Toowoomba up to Kingaroy and then into the South Burnett and the Wivenhoe outlook. We're expecting some powerful thunderstorms through here, and some isolated and scattered powerful severe thunderstorm activity is also expected through the scenic rim and the northeast of New South Wales. A lot of the thunderstorms that make it through the Brisbane area are going to be the upscaled remnants of the thunderstorms that develop a little bit further inland. So we're going to be talking about a greater risk of squally thunderstorms as opposed to widespread supercell thunderstorm activity into the Brisbane area and through southeast Queensland in general. What that means is the risk of damaging to locally destructive winds and heavy rainfall is elevated, whereas the risk of large and potentially giant hailstones is a little bit decreased. However, we still expect the large hail risk to persist through the Brisbane area right through Saturday afternoon and into Saturday evening. Strong thunderstorms are expected to persist right through southeastern or greater southeastern Queensland as well through Saturday evening, and also northeastern New South Wales through Saturday night and into Sunday morning. Strong thunderstorm activity is expected to be very widespread. We're going to continue to see this moisture continue to spill in towards central Queensland through Saturday, and you can see a lot of these thunderstorms continue to go throughout Saturday night. This is the picture here at 3 o'clock on Sunday morning, and you can see there is a lot of thunderstorm activity that is pushing through New South Wales. This will then tend to rainfall at times through Sunday morning, and we're expecting light to moderate falls to extend through central Queensland and northeastern New South Wales. This will also include the Brisbane area as well. Scattered rainfall accumulations between 10 to 30 millimetres are expected on Sunday morning alone, and that will be on top of whatever falls from thunderstorms, with some isolated rainfall accumulations, particularly into the Burnett and the Wivenhoe outlook, could be around that 50 millimetre mark through Sunday morning. This rainfall is then expected to clear off. It will increase a little bit temporarily through Sunday early afternoon into Sunday evening, and a few thunderstorms are actually expected on the backside of this cloud band that's going to be moving through, so we could be seeing some strong and potentially severe thunderstorm activity well inland from the Capricornia coastline and through the Burnett forecast district and around Roma, but I'm not expecting anything too crazy. But this rainfall picking up around lunchtime and then beginning to pull away from the Brisbane area by Sunday night and into early Monday morning for the Capricornia coastline. That will be the end of this rainfall here, and you can see it pushing away from the Queensland coastline by the afternoon of Monday, and that's going to be the end of this rainfall and thunderstorm outbreak. But all in all, some very healthy rainfall accumulations are expected. Have a look at this. This is 3-day rainfall accumulations, including Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and some big time rainfall accumulations are now on the cards, in particularly outside of Wollongara, Stanthorpe and Warwick through here, and some decent rainfall accumulations now pushing into the Wivenhoe outlook, the Burnett forecast district, and then outside of Chinchilla and up towards Eidsvold. Rainfall accumulations through all of those mentioned places between the 60 to 100 millimetre mark, with some scattered rainfall accumulations getting closer to 120 millimetres in 1 or 2 places. And the reason for this is we're expecting a lot of thunderstorm activity out in this part of Queensland here, which is going to drive up those rainfall accumulations. So of course, course, out around the Roma, the Injune and the Troom area, rainfall accumulation is going to be pretty scattered. You might pick up a lot of rainfall, whereas your neighbours down the road may pick up very much a lot less rainfall. But by the time these thunderstorms head further east, they're going to have upscaled at that point in time, which means rainfall is going to be a little bit more widespread as it pushes into the Burnett forecast district. And then coupling that with more moisture that's going to be streaming into the Burnett forecast district, just because it is a little bit closer to the coastline, we're going to see enhanced precipitation through this region of Queensland. And that will be pushing our rainfall accumulations closer towards 60 to 80 millimetres as opposed to 20 to 40 millimetres a little bit further inland. Decent rainfall accumulations also expected through parts of the Scenic Rim and the Granite Belt and Darling Downs as well. Again, half of that's going to come through from constant thunderstorm activity that's going to pepper this region of Queensland, and the other half coming through from that rainfall that's going to stream through on Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. Brisbane could also see a healthy handful of rainfall as well. I think the forecast, at least from this model here, is a little bit overestimated. I don't really see Brisbane getting 100 millimetres of rainfall. Definitely one or two of the suburbs out towards the Samford Valley and through the Ipswich area, and then out towards the Lockyer Valley as well. So Gatton could definitely pick up 100 millimetres of rainfall. But I reckon for Brisbane, this forecast is relatively overcooked, and between 60 to 70 millimetres is what we're expecting there. Again, from a pretty even mix between thunderstorms and then a 30 millimetre rain dump coming through the course of Sunday and into Sunday afternoon and evening. The Gold Coast looking at slightly less, between 20 to 40 millimetres down there. Just not as much thunderstorm activity as expected. And the northeast of New South Wales as well, probably getting the rougher end of the stick, but still some half decent rainfall accumulations between 20 to 50 millimetres expected through there. The Capricornia coastline as well, majority of the rainfall coming through Sunday into early Monday morning, considering they're not expecting much in the way of thunderstorm activity. Falls between 15 to 40 millimetres expected there, and some decent rainfall accumulations expected through central Queensland and then towards northwestern Queensland as well, and even extending up in towards the Atherton Tablelands. Not quite on this map, but rainfall accumulations between 50 to 40 millimetres expected all through those locations. Unfortunately, the North Queensland coastline towns all down towards Rockhampton, including Mackay, really miss out on this rainfall. Only a couple of millimetres expected for those places. Unfortunate for them. Not much rainfall also expected further down in towards Sydney, but it is overall looking like a very, very wet weekend, and that is because our Madden Julian oscillation has stalled over into the northwestern waters outside of Western Australia. So we're talking around the Cocos-Keeling Islands, and what that means is this massive surge of energy, which is that MJO sitting over some very favourable conditions. Coupling that with the Indian Ocean dipole, a lot of moisture streaming through parts of interior Australia, and that's carrying over in towards eastern Australia as well, down around the Brisbane area through southeast Queensland. What that also means is moisture is enhanced through parts of the Timor Sea and the Joseph Bonaparte Gulf, and we've been tracking this for the last couple of days, but there is now a tropical cyclone chance developing outside of Darwin sometime earlier next week. Now, forecast modelling is still pretty uncertain in terms of exactly what to expect at this point in time, but I think it's safe to say we are going to see a tropical low develop, at least in a small capacity, into the Joseph Bonaparte Gulf outside of Darwin sometime between the 17th down to about the 20th of November, and you can see that here on this forecast modelling here. The European forecast model calling for it to develop a lot more closer to Indonesia than where it has previously, and of course that interaction with land means that we're not really seeing anything in the way of an intense tropical cyclone developing, but I do believe we are going to see something developing halfway between Indonesia and the northern parts of the Northern Territory, and that's slowly going to happen between the 17th down to about the 20th of November before this system finally gets itself going and heads down towards the northwest of WA before it perishes towards the north of Columbaroo and Truscott. Conditions anywhere further south this line are really not favourable, with very high levels of wind shear, which will be very hostile to a tropical cyclone developing. Now, this is no threat to Darwin at this point in time. Even if this does develop into a tropical cyclone, it's not likely to go anywhere close enough to Darwin, and even if it does, it'll be substantially weaker down towards tropical low status by the time it gets near to Darwin. What we are expecting for Darwin and just the top end of the Northern Territory in general is an enhanced amount of rainfall and shower activity coming through over the next 7 to 8 days or so, the next 7 to 10 days I should say, because this is going to persist for quite a while, and we could be seeing rainfall accumulations between 80 to 200 millimetres through parts of the top end, and that could push closer to 250 millimetres through parts of Melville Island. Darwin itself could see anywhere up towards about 150 millimetres of rainfall, depending on what thunderstorms get sparked into the Darwin area as a result of this developing low pressure system, but I don't expect anything too crazy in the way of flooding to occur, and definitely nothing in the way of crazy winds it can be expected from this developing tropical low, or even if it gets up towards tropical cyclone status, I don't think it's going to be crazy enough to cause all sorts of problems. But yeah, the GFS forecast model as well has been pretty fond with the system developing, as we all know. It also has another tropical low here in the Gulf of Carpentaria that took it into the Cape York Peninsula. A couple of forecast model runs ago as a category 4 strength tropical cyclone, Queensland. So this one here definitely could be worth a watch, and it might also enhance some rainfall across the Cape York Peninsula, which would include far north Queensland as well. But there are some half decent rainfall accumulations now in the forecast for one or two locations, and again, it's definitely a system that is worth taking seriously right now. I think the GFS is definitely overcooking the rainfall side of things, and it's also overcooking the intensity of these systems in the Gulf of Carpentaria. But yeah, definitely some enhanced shower activity can be expected, and I think I'm going to have to leave this update here and say that whilst we know what generally speaking is going to be happening, we don't know the exact specifics at this point in time, and I'm going to have to give it another couple of forecast runs out till about tomorrow to be able to tell you exactly what we're expecting tropical low or tropical cyclone wise towards the northwest of Western Australia. But anyways, that will do it for today's weather forecast update. I'll have another one later today, a southeast Queensland special on the thunderstorms occurring down here. So if that's your cup of tea, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well so you get the first notification. But that is going to do it for me today. Of course, a massive thank you to the channel sponsors. Their names are on screen right now. Could not on this show without them. Hope you have a great day. One more day till Friday, and I'll catch you on the next storm. Goodbye.